Hi YouTube, this is Felicia with Bible Scraps, and this is episode 5 in my Flippie Funique series. In this video, we are going to stamp onto Flippies or clear bags with Stazon ink and with a dye ink. Because I'm stamping, I'll be using adhesive foam as a stamping mat, a sheet of acrylic as my project workspace, and a clear bag by the company Clear Bags. I'm going to be using stamps by Gina Marie, and these are called Bible quotes. I'm also going to use this pineapple stamp that you could pick up at Michael's. It's a Recollections stamp, I think. Well, Studio G. And then I'm going to use this rubber stamp. I'm going to first stamp with the preferred ink for non-porous and slick surfaces, and that is Stazon ink. And I think it's worthwhile noting that Stazon inks, they come with this acrylic topper. Do not throw this away. When I began using Stazon inks years ago, I threw away these and my ink pads dried out. So do not throw these away. When you're done using your pad, secure it back on, and this will maintain freshness for a long time. So the key to stamping on slick surfaces, well, you want to give even, firm pressure. Now, I didn't get a good impression there, and that's because I need to stamp a little bit closer to me. So I'm going to redo this. It might be out of view. Uh-oh, that one did shift a bit. Now this one came out better, but it did move. So let me just do it out of view. Okay, so this one came out very nice. Going to stamp a couple more times. Now I'm going to stamp this next one with more pressure to show you that you will get a bolder impression when you add more pressure. Okay, actually that time it didn't. I'm surprised. Okay, so let's try it again. Not sure if you can really tell, but this image is bolder than this image here, and even this image as well. So the more pressure you give, the bolder your image will be. There is a special product you can buy, but I just use baby wipes. Now, Stazon is a permanent ink, so it will stain your clear and rubber stamps. So now I'm going to use Stazon ink with this rubber stamp. Now I have to say, you guys, I would get better impressions if I was stamping closer to me. So just keep that in mind. And I've been given medium pressure here. I'm going to make this one just light. Now sometimes your stamp wants to stick to your clear bag. Release it gently. Okay, so let's take a look at the impressions from the Stazon ink. It did a really good job with the script stamp. I'm able to read what it states. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. Of course, I had some images that look better than others. I'm out of angle, and you do need to practice first. But with Stazon ink, the great thing about it, you get instant dryness. No smearing. And the images down here, this is a bolder, bigger image. Be joyful in hope. patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. And that's Romans 2 and 42? No, 12 and 12. I think. Okay, so all these images came from using Stazon ink. Now we are going to use that other ink. Do you want to see the ink that works on clear bags? And it probably even works on other slick surfaces. Well, that ink is by Hero Arts. It's a shadow ink, a mid-tone color, and with patience, maybe a half an hour or less, this ink will dry onto the Flippie. The same clear stamp I used with my Stazon ink, using the Hero Arts, and let me bring it in a little closer to me. Now, I found that working with the rubber stamps, they work better on slick surfaces than clear stamps do because they don't move as much. Therefore, they don't smear as much. So this one, it did smear a bit. But I really want to show you guys how, and that one smeared even more. I really want to show you how it dries. Now, with the clear stamp, you have to do it really quick. At least I have found when you just do it quick, you get a better impression. So probably can't read this, but I want to show you how it will dry. Now, let me use the pineapple stamp with the Hero Arts ink. And you know what? This stamp don't even move. So the red rubber works very well with the Hero Arts ink on the clear bag. So here I'm going to use the rubber stamp with the grape colored Hero Arts ink. Ooh, like it. Yeah, these dark colors are beautiful. And with these two, I'm stamping light. Nice. 30 minutes. This will be dry. Take a look at that though. In about a half an hour or less, this will completely dry. In about 10 minutes, I can take a baby wipe, and though I will be able to remove some of the ink, most of the ink by then would have dried. So I'm going to set this aside so it can dry and then show you some impressions I made earlier. Now I'm showing these to you just to show you that it did dry. This is a full sheet of, now these were stamped out with the Stazon, but all the pineapples and everything over here was with Hero Arts inks, and it's completely dry except this part. I did that well, maybe about a half an hour ago, and I used a baby wipe to smear that, so that's still wet a little bit. But these images here, they're dry, and if I take a baby wipe, and I'm using firm medium pressure, though a little bit of ink is on the baby wipe, it did not affect the saturation of color. You still see a nice image of these pineapples. Now, this was that same stamp that I used, that clear stamp. You can't really read what it states, but it takes practice. You can achieve good impressions with your scripted clear stamps, but you got to practice to get the right combination of pressure, ink, and swiftness. But on this side, can you read what this states? This is a stamp. It's a rubber stamp gifted to me by Mary Beth, a good friend of mine. Hi, Mary Beth. Got it for my birthday. It's of the Lord's Prayer, and I can totally read what this states. I'm not sure if you can. Now, the top part, I didn't give enough pressure when I stamped, but you could totally read all of this. And this is using the Hero Arts ink. And once again, it's dry. If I take a wet baby wipe, look, that's not coming up. As a matter of fact, it appears to look more clear to me. Yeah, so that's great. I decided to test something else out. I know that alcohol removes Stazon, and so I have alcohol 70%, and I'm going to take it and see if I can remove the Stazon ink. So it's permanent. It removes it right after you stamp, but you do see that it is removing. Well, yeah, if you keep working with it, you can remove it. It's just easier to remove while it's still wet. But Stazon ink or alcohol ink did remove the Stazon ink from the clear bag. Now I'm going to see how easy it is to remove the Hero Arts. Now Hero Arts, it removed really easy. So Hero Arts, it's not a permanent ink for slick surfaces, but it does dry. And when it dries, excuse me, it does not smear. But alcohol removes both Stazon and Hero Arts ink. It takes a Stazon ink less rubbing to rub off than the Hero Arts ink. I wasn't going to show these images because I showed you the other images that had dried, but these are the images that I stamped in this video, and I just want to show you that they are dry. Now it is the next day, but once again, your Hero Art ink will dry within half an hour. So a couple things to note. Stazon is the preferred ink for slick surfaces and for non-porous surfaces. And you can get Stazon ink in many different colors, but I am so thrilled to know that Hero Arts ink work as well with a little patience to allow it to dry. I said many crafters worry about using Stazon ink on their clear stamps because they feel it could damage them, and also it stains the stamps, but I found that dye inks also stain clear stamps. But it's great to know that Hero Art works because you might have it in your stash already. And I love using Hero Arts ink on paper because it gives a nice saturation. So the bolder colors work better because you obviously can see them. Now Stazon, they make a variety of inks. This is their first ink they came out with, and they have this type in different colors. But then they also have this particular type. These are softer colors. I'm not sure if there's a special name for them, but I have found that these dry out really quick. And so what I started doing, instead of re-inking every time I needed to use the ink pad, I just take a small piece of foam and dab on the ink that I need and use this to stamp. It gets the job done, and it saves on my refill ink because these dry out so quick. You might have to re-ink these every time you use them. They also have metallic. Metallic also dries out very quick. And then their latest is these mini, which I haven't used yet, but Michaels and Joann's carry a small selection of these. You know what? Let me just stamp it out. Okay, so this is how this ink pad looks. It's larger than, this is by Hero Arts too, one of their mini ones. So it's bigger than the many other ink pads that I have. Stamp to the side. Okay, well, it's just an orange impression. Maybe if I used a different image, I'm thinking I would get a variated look. I'm not too sure, but it's called Orange Zest. And once again, you can get these at Michael's or Joann's. Well, I thank you guys for watching. As always, blessings.